Hey guys, it's Jeff, and today we are checking out the iPad Pro. And the main question that I have for you guys is it worth it? And we are kind of going to go throughout that journey of finding the answer for that question, the big question surrounding the iPad Pros of 2018. Now, just in case you haven't gotten the full gist of the iPad Pros that were just released by Apple, we have Face ID, no home button, so it's almost an edge-to-edge display. Obviously, the bezels are a lot thinner here, and we have a new Apple Pencil which magnetically connects to the iPad for connections and charging. We have a lot of things going on, a big design change with the iPad Pro USB-C, and just a lot of other things that are really making this kind of like the highlight of Apple's year, specifically with computing. So if you haven't checked out all of those specs, I recommend that you do. Just go onto Apple's website, just check out the tech specs at least, and then continue on with this video because we are going to be talking about pricing mainly with the iPad Pros. So we're on the product page here for the iPad Pro, and we're gonna go ahead and basically go and select our specs here. But we are going to talk a little bit about the specs. So we have an 11-inch and 12.9-inch display here. 11 starts at $799. We have silver and space gray colors, just like the MacBook Pro lineup. I'm going to select space gray here, and then let's take a look at storage. So storage will be the main price difference basically for the new iPad Pros. We have 64 gigabytes, which is the lowest, and then 1 terabyte, which is the highest. Now, 64 gigabytes for an iPad Pro specifically, I think is a little on the light end. I don't think that they should have started out with this memory configuration. I know why they did. It was specifically to introduce a much lower pricing to get people attracted to it, simply because when I heard this price, $799 for an iPad Pro of 2018, I was absolutely in shock. But obviously that was for the 64 gigabyte model. And once we bump into like the relevant range for storage with a lot of pro users who might be using this iPad, we're definitely in the 256 gigabyte region, and that is going for $949 specifically for the 11-inch iPad Pro. So let's just go middle of the road here with the 512 gigabyte iPad Pro. Maybe this is your main computer. Maybe you have all of your documents on here. 512 gigabytes. Now let's go for the Wi-Fi model specifically, just because we want to keep pricing down, and we're already at $1149 basically. So we're already at over $1,000 for this iPad Pro. Now let's go and look at the MacBook Pro lineup. And for the MacBook Pro lineup, now we're comparing the 11-inch iPad Pro here with middle of the road storage to basically a 2.3 gigahertz dual core MacBook Pro. And the MacBook Pro starts at $1299 for that configuration. So we're only, $100 and $150 off of that price with this configuration. Now, a lot of people who would be basically comparing or deciding between an iPad Pro and a MacBook Pro or any other laptop would most likely be going for the 12.9-inch display, specifically because Apple has so many 13-inch displays out there, and it would be the most comparable. Now, let's just go for the configuration that we set up, and we had space gray, but we did have 256 gigabytes. We had the Wi-Fi model, and that is same price, $1149. So if we go into something more relevant like 512 gigabytes, maybe this is your only computer, we're looking at $1349. So $1349 for an iPad Pro with middle of the road storage, and this is the 12.9 inch model. So we have basically a more expensive iPad Pro than the MacBook Pro, which obviously is going to have a lot faster of a processor. But we do only have 128 gigabytes of storage. So if we go and configure a MacBook Pro here to basically a higher storage, let's say the equal amount of storage, we're looking at a much different price point here. So we're looking at basically $300 difference. Now, this can get a little bit ridiculous. When we go into the memory configuration here for the 12.9-inch iPad Pro, we go up to 1 terabyte. We're looking at a hefty price of $1749. And obviously, when you take a look at When you take a look at the MacBook Pro lineup, we're looking at 13-inch MacBook Pros with basically the Touch Bar and Touch ID running at 2.3 gigahertz quad core processor, and that is 256 gigabytes of storage. You add like an external storage on there and you're all set to go. So basically, we're looking at really expensive products here. Now, if we go to the iMacs, we are looking at basically a whole new lineup here. So our configuration that we had at like the very low configuration of 256 gigabytes, we're looking at iMac 21-inch, and it's at $1,099. Now, if we want that Retina display, we're only going up just $200 more. So we are looking at basically $1,300, which would be very comparable to what our configuration was. But with the iMac, we're getting a 1 terabyte hard drive, much better processor, and much better graphics processing. So really, those are just a few comparisons to basically pricing structure for the iPad Pro, but it's up to you guys. Do you want to be stuck with a desktop, or do you want to be mobile and still have good amount of processing power with an iPad Pro or a MacBook lineup? So it's really up to you guys. Now, we'll go over what configuration we went to. We did the 12.9-inch iPad Pro, Space Gray, 256 gigabytes, Wi-Fi model, and that comes out to $1,149. Now, if we go and basically add this to our cart, skip the engraving here because that will delay the iPad. We go and we have to select the accessories. So if we start adding accessories, you can see how the price just gets higher and higher. Now, obviously, if you're getting an iPad Pro, you definitely want to get the Apple Pencil, especially the second generation one. It doesn't have that funky charging with the lightning going in from the pen to the iPad. It was just a little bit ridiculous. So we have the new magnetic charging here, some new features with the second gen Apple Pencil. This is a must buy. Now, if you are using the iPad Pro like a laptop, you obviously are going to want a keyboard. Now we're getting even into like a higher price point. So the Smart Keyboard Folio for the new 12.9-inch iPad Pro is $200. So we'll go ahead and add that to our cart. So just with those alone, let's go and review our bag here because we just added 2 new accessories on top of a very expensive iPad. And as you can see, $1,600, we are getting into a really high price point here. And I think the main question for you guys is $1,600 for a middle of the road iPad Pro worth it for you to upgrade from maybe the previous generation 10.5-inch iPad Pro, or maybe even iPads that like 4th generation iPads that, work just as well. It's just they have a different layout, different processing speed, and everything like that. Now, I think it really depends on the end user. What are they using this iPad Pro for? Is it going to be worth $1,600? Are they going to get a good return on their investment? That is totally up to their situation. So, guys, this is the basically configuration that we selected for our iPad Pro lineup. We ordered it. It's coming November 7th. That is next Wednesday. So I encourage you all to get subscribed here. Stay tuned for the basically unboxing and review experience for the 12.9-inch iPad Pro for 2018. We are going to be taking a huge leap into this iPad Pro and seeing what it can do, push it to its limits, and see if Apple and what they're saying is true about the processing power that this thing can put out. So guys, join us next week on Wednesday, November 7th. We'll have that ready for you, and we hope to see you then. Thank you for watching this video, and thank you for watching all of our videos and for your support. We look forward to bringing you even more content in the near future. So again, thank you guys, and we'll see you in our next video. This video is sponsored by DimSquid. DimSquid is a website hosting service where you can go and search for and purchase a domain for your website, and then DimSquid will then host your website for under $4 a month, which is obviously super cheap. To make it even better for all of you tech review viewers out there, DimSquid is offering you guys 75% off your purchase by using the offer code TechReview. So check it out and get started today with your new website hosted by DimSquid.